Yeah.
Good. So lean is all about the improving the efficiency, optimizing the resources, right? First of all, you should understand what actually adds value to your customer. What actually adds value to our customer. Today morning, 9:30 we started. 9:30 to 10:30 there were introduction, there were some introductory talk. How many of you feel that is important for your course? All of you feel that is important for the course?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Very good. So we should continue doing it. We should continue doing it. Suppose, let's say 10 minutes I play a beautiful song, recent movie song. How many of you will think these 10 minutes will add value to your participation in the program?
Yes, sir. That will add value.
Oh, cinema song also will add value.
No. No.
But if you say add value, afternoon I will play some 6 to 7 songs and take half an hour rest. Right. So you need to know what actually adds value to your customer. Identify customer value. And then you create a map of the process. This is called value stream map. The value stream map is not the ideal process. Ideal process is the one you designed. But your value stream map should capture the process as it is. Morning 9 o'clock, we have not started. 9:32 only we started. That means 2 minutes we have delayed. Am I correct? Maybe reasons, some participants have not joined, or we were waiting for time, and then the breakout room was a bit confusion. I don't know, isn't it? There are certain things happen. The process as it is should be mapped. What is the advantage? You understand the opportunities that exist for improvement. You always see the ideal process. You will never understand the opportunity for improvement. So the process as it is, how it is executed, if you map it, the diagram is called what? Value stream mapping. The first step in a Lean Six Sigma project is value stream mapping. And then you see the flow, whether the flow is smooth, whether the flow is fast, whether the flow is proper, isn't it? If the flow is not smooth means, for example, I make RK to speak continuously 4 hours. Now, what is that mistake I'm doing? I'm overloading him. Am I right? So no. When he speaks 4 hours continuously, maybe 2 hours he can talk properly, and then next 2 hours will be a big problem for all of you. Isn't it?
Correct.
So we should see to that our flow is proper. And then the speed of the flow is also important. That is why we measure cycle time, takt time, lead time, and many things, right? So, and then ensure there is a smooth flow. Smooth flow in the sense, no wastage happens. No non-value adding time gets accumulated anywhere. We keep the flow in such a way that every minute is enjoyable in the training program. Every minute is productive in your company, right? And then establish pull. What is pull? Supply only when it is needed. Am I right? All of you have joined the program on your own interest. Am I correct?
Yes.
And so the result is phenomenal. If simply we bring 100 people inside and then talk Six Sigma to everyone, do you think everybody will understand what I'm talking? Definitely no, isn't it? So always situation has to be pull. No, give only what is required. Give only when there is some demand. Produce products only when there is a demand. No demand, just keep quiet. This is called pull. This is called just in time, right? Try to establish pull. Connect the process to the next process. The next process should pull the output from the previous process. You understand? You create like this, and now you are creating a flow, and then in order to ensure the flow, you are establishing the pull and then seek perfection. Criticize every step. Why are you doing like this? Why are you consuming so much? Why do you take so much time? Why do you use so much material? Why there is a defect? This cycle, when you continue, what will happen to the end result? The customer satisfaction will be at its best. Hope all of you agree with me. And on the right side, what you see is a tool called SMED, Single Minute Exchange of Dice. Some of you could have maybe using it in your company, by which you can minimize the changeover time. What is changeover time?
Switching time in between two processes.
Very good. Switching from one process to other process, one product to other product, right? Like this. So, or sometimes you can even consider it as a machine setup time. I need to do some setting and then only my machine will be productive, right? I need to do some setting and then only my machine will be productive. And so SMED is a technique which will ensure that you make the changeover fast, very fast. If you make the changeover very fast, you know what will happen? Waiting will go down drastically. People no need to wait for the results to happen. People no need to wait for the output from your machine. Hope all of you understand, right? So the setup time is brought down, and for which you need to break down the process into activities. And then each activity you must ask yourself whether it is internal or external, right? And then try to do more of external. Try to convert more of the activities into external. If you convert more of the activity into external, that means it can be done without stopping the machine. That means it can be done without stopping the machine. And then internal activities are less. Now what will happen? The overall time to make the changeover will come down. So this is called SMED. So every tool in Lean, one way or the other way, will eliminate the wasteful activities or will eliminate the non-value adding activities. One way or the other way will speed up your process. Am I correct? Speeding up doesn't mean we will run the machine faster. Speed up doesn't mean people will run faster. People will do only what is required. This is called speeding up, right? So this is Lean. So there is nothing so useless as doing efficiently something which should not be done at all. What we are not supposed to do? We are not supposed to do any form of non-value adding activity in our workplace. Is my statement make sense? Not my statement. This is Peter Drucker. He said, hope all of you agree with me on this, right? There is no point in doing a non-value adding activities. But I think some of you can debate on this, because sometimes we need to do certain non-value adding activities. For example, morning we had a coffee break. 15 minutes coffee break. And now tell me, is that coffee break is value adding or non-value adding?
This is value adding.
Value adding.
Oh, what value it added? How many tools you learned during the coffee break?
The coffee break, we may get a more efficient if we take break. If continuously we are taking, we can't concentrate continuously on the subject.
No, that is not value adding. That is non-value adding. You have not learned anything during the coffee break. Maybe if you interact during the coffee and then learn something, then I can consider that as a value adding. You have become energetic, I know. So if you spend the duration of the coffee break for anything other than the learning, I will consider that time as non-value adding time. That activity as non-value adding time. At the same time, I respect your point. You need a break so that you can continue to listen effectively. Am I right? So it is now, coffee break is not a value adding time, but it is a process requirement. If I don't give that break, the session after the break may not be effective as expected, right? So certain non-value adding activities, though we know it is non-value adding, we cannot eliminate. Now tell me, under such situation, how will you react? There is a non-value adding, but you cannot eliminate. Now what will you do?
We have to keep.
Come again, sir?
We have to keep.
We have to keep it maybe minimal.
Minimal. Sir, I will give one best example in a business scenario.
Yes, please.
Because we are moving towards, all developed countries are moving towards center of excellence. Center of excellence is only I'm going to keep value added things which are useful to the customer, which are useful to the product. But
Correct.
labor intensive countries, they are thinking about their products or cost in, how much minimize, how extent you are minimizing cost, it will be competitive in the market. So most of the things that whatever may the support services in the developing countries, it will be a non-value added things, but we cannot move towards a center of excellence. We are going to keep only important activities which are beneficial to the business. So what are all the non-valued added things which are cost effective, we have to keep. That is called center of excellence plus non-valued things in a practical business scenario.
Okay, you mean to say you get operator at a lower cost?
No, not. I am not seeing like that. If you keep payroll function or HR function, if you are making time analysis for the top management, how much they are spending, but if you are evaluating with the cost factor, if it is minimized, then whether we have to keep or not, that is based on the cost factor. That is even that whatever the support services may not be value added to the product.
Right. Good example. Right. But ultimately, in order to classify between value adding and non-value adding, we need to ask ourselves, certain questions. So what I am doing right now, is it really required to achieve the effectiveness? Is it really required to achieve the effectiveness? If the answer is yes, then definitely no. It can be value adding. It can be value adding. Let me put it in a simple way. You are doing a task. You just ask yourself whether your customer is willing to pay for what you are doing. For example, let's say I'm doing a surface finishing kind of activity, or my car is getting painted. Do you think your car comes with a properly finished painting? Is a value adding activity when you buy a car?
Yes.
Do you see the same level of finish in the under chassis of the car?
No.
No.
Certain areas, the painting is found valuable by your customer. Certain area, customer doesn't care. Accordingly, the requirement changes. So if the customer is willing to pay for what you are doing, then it is value adding. I maintain a super finish and then make my car 1 lakh higher. Customers are not willing to buy. Now I need to understand keeping a highest level of finish in the under chassis of the car is non-value adding. Now my goal should be I should either eliminate or I should minimize depending on the situation. Two options. You can either eliminate if it is not a process requirement. But now coffee break I'm not able to eliminate because it's a process requirement, right? So we need to ask ourselves very clearly whether what we are doing at the step level, at the activity level, if it is adding value, then it is value adding. Otherwise, it is non-value adding. The non-value adding activities in plain English are called waste. In my opinion, if a better way of doing a work exists and we don't do it that way, that is definitely a waste. If you don't realize that, what will happen? Your competitors will make you realize one day. Am I correct?
Correct.
So there are 7 waste generally exist. I'll quickly give everything with a simple example. Definitely you will be able to connect it. Overproduction. What is overproduction? Producing
when not even in demand.
Yeah, producing when items are not in demand. Producing more and producing early also overproduction. For example, you go to a party, food is